Most people believe that the only thing standing between them and $1,000,000 is a lucky break or a winning lottery ticket. They think money is something you work for. But the harsh reality is that money is a game. And like any game, if you don't understand the rules, you are destined to lose. The difference between the person drowning in debt and the tycoon orchestrating global trades isn't just the balance in their bank account, it's their financial IQ. Today, we are breaking down the 7 levels of financial intelligence. We'll start at level 1, where 90% of society is trapped in a cycle of consumer chaos, and we'll climb all the way to level 7, the macro strategist, where you no longer work for money, because you've learned how to make the entire global economy work for you. Pay close attention. Most people think they are at level 3 or 4, but by the end of this video, you might realize you've been stuck at the starting line your entire life. Let's begin. Level 1. Consumer chaos. The modern economy is a sophisticated trap designed to keep you in a state of perpetual consumer chaos. For the average person in the US or UK, a paycheck isn't capital, it's just spending power. The moment the money hits the account, it's already gone. You don't see wealth. You see the monthly payments for a new iPhone, a car lease that devours 40% of your take-home pay, and a lifestyle designed to impress people you don't even like on social media. This is the minimum payment trap. You buy things you don't need with money you don't have, all while the banks celebrate your financial illiteracy. Your credit score is treated like a badge of honor, yet you use it only to accumulate liabilities that lose value the moment you sign the contract. Whether you earn $30,000 or $200,000 a year, the result is the same. If your expenses rise to meet your earnings, you are living in a state of high-end financial slavery. You are one missed paycheck, one medical emergency, or one minor recession away from total ruin. You live in a constant state of low-level anxiety, convinced that just a little more money will solve the problem. But more money on a broken foundation only leads to bigger debts and higher stakes. You are a passenger in a car with no brakes, accelerating toward a cliff, and the worst part? You're enjoying the view from the window while the engine is on fire. You aren't building a life. You are just servicing the interest on your own cage. Level 2, the awakening. True financial intelligence begins with a moment of brutal, cold honesty. This is the stage of awareness. It's the moment the rose-colored glasses shatter and you realize that your lifestyle is actually a prison built by marketing departments and credit card companies. You stop looking at your bank statement with fear and start looking at it with a calculator. In this phase, you stop being a consumer and start being a manager of your own destiny. You recognize that a $7 latte or a forgotten $15 subscription isn't just pocket change. It's thousands of dollars of lost future freedom. The debt snowball becomes your primary weapon. You stop feeding the beast and start attacking your balances with a vengeance. You finally understand that paying 22% interest on a credit card is a financial house fire that requires an emergency response. The psychological shift is massive. You move from the impulsive, "I want it now," to the disciplined, "I can wait." You realize that true wealth is invisible. It's the money you don't spend on luxury clothes or useless gadgets that gives you the power to sleep through the night. You build your first $1,000 emergency fund, and suddenly, life feels different. For the first time, a flat tire isn't a catastrophe. It's just a minor inconvenience. You finally put your head above water, but don't get comfortable. You're still in the middle of the ocean, and the shore is only visible to those who know how to navigate. Level 3, the wealth engine. This is where the magic of the global financial system finally starts working for you instead of against you. You've killed your high-interest debt, built a 6-month safety net, and moved your focus from mere survival to the power of compound interest. You've stopped saving money because you understand that keeping cash in a standard bank account is a guaranteed way to lose 5% of your purchasing power every year to the invisible tax of inflation. You open the doors to the market. You focus on index funds and tax-advantaged vehicles like a Roth IRA or 401k. You adopt the golden rule: pay your future self first. Your investments are no longer an afterthought. They are a non-negotiable bill that must be paid before you buy groceries or pay rent. You've realized that wealth isn't about timing the market or finding the next viral meme coin. It's about time in the market. Every dollar you invest is a money soldier sent out to the front lines to bring back more prisoners. You stop checking the daily fluctuations and start looking at decades. However, there is a dangerous trap here: comfort. Many people get a nice suburban house and a steady 401k and think they've won the game. But this path only buys you a comfortable retirement when you're 65 and your best years are behind you. If you want true freedom while you are still young enough to enjoy it, you have to stop being a passive observer and start becoming an architect. Level 4. Risk architecture. Financial intelligence isn't measured by how much you make when the sun is shining. It's measured by how much you keep when the storm hits. At this stage, you stop being a gambler and start being a risk architect. The average person panics when the S&P 500 drops 20%. They sell at the bottom, lock in their losses, and swear off the markets forever. The risk architect does the exact opposite. You understand that volatility isn't a bug in the system. It's the price of admission to the world of wealth. You've moved beyond simple index funds and started diversifying into non-correlated assets. You look at real estate, private equity, or physical gold, not as get-rich-quick schemes, but as hedges against a failing currency and a volatile world. You no longer check your portfolio every hour because you have a strategy that survives headlines. Your focus has shifted from "how much can I gain" to "how much can I afford to lose." This is where you master the asymmetric bet, identifying scenarios where the downside is limited and controlled, but the upside is potentially infinite. You are no longer praying for a bull market. You are building a machine that produces cash flow regardless of who is in the White House or what the Federal Reserve decides to do with interest rates. You are no longer a victim of the economy. You are a student of it. Level 5. The Asset Master. Most people spend their entire lives trading their limited time for a paycheck. The Asset Master understands that this is a losing trade. Time is your only truly diminishing resource. Capital, however, can be scaled infinitely. At this stage, your mindset undergoes a radical shift. You stop asking, "How can I earn more?" and start asking, "What assets can I acquire that will earn for me?" The goal is mathematical and absolute. Your passive income must exceed your cost of living. This is the only true definition of freedom. When your dividends, rental income, and royalties cover your mortgage, your travel, and your health care, work becomes a choice, not a survival tactic. You finally understand the profound difference between being rich and being wealthy. Rich is having a high salary and a big house that you have to keep working 80 hours a week to pay for. Wealthy is having assets that provide you with the most valuable luxury on earth: silence. The silence of not having to answer to a boss, a client, or a calendar. You've stopped buying stuff to fill a void and started buying systems that create value. You realize that a luxury car is just a depreciating piece of metal, but a profitable business or a portfolio of cash-flowing properties is a legacy. You are no longer a participant in the economy. You are an owner of it. Level 6. The Strategic Architect. Now, you stop looking at money as a way to buy things and start seeing it as a way to buy laws, time, and systems. This is the realm of structural wealth. You've moved past the what of investing and into the how. You master the art of tax optimization, using legal entities, trusts, and corporate structures to protect your capital from the eroding effects of government overreach and litigation. While the average person pays the highest tax rate on their physical labor, you pay the lowest possible tax rate on your capital gains. You understand that in the Western world, the tax code is a manual on how the government wants you to spend your money, and you follow it to the letter. You use smart debt as a surgical weapon. While the masses use debt to buy liabilities like clothes and vacations, you use it to acquire massive cash-flowing assets, letting the bank's money build your empire while you retain the equity. You aren't just wealthy, you are protected. You've built a financial fortress that can survive market crashes, political shifts, and currency devaluations. You don't hope for a good economy. You've engineered your life so that you thrive in any environment. You are no longer playing the game. At this level, you are beginning to understand how the game was built. Level 7. The Macro Master. The final evolution of financial intelligence is the Macro Master. At this height, your perspective shifts from your own portfolio to the entire global chessboard. You no longer monitor stocks, you monitor the flow of energy, the shift of empires, and the movements of central banks. You see the Federal Reserve's interest rate pivots not as news, but as inevitable signals of the next cycle. You can see a recession coming 18 months before it hits because you understand the mechanics of the global debt cycle. While the world is panicking over sensationalist headlines, you are calmly positioned to profit from the inevitable chaos. You know that the greatest transfers of wealth in human history don't happen during the calm of bull markets. They happen during the violence of the crashes. At this level, money is no longer about survival, luxury, or even personal freedom. It's about impact, influence, and legacy. You have reached a point where your capital grows faster than any human could ever spend it. Your focus turns to endowment, philanthropy, and shaping the future of industries and communities. You have achieved the ultimate form of power, the ability to move the needle of history. Most people will live and die never knowing this game even existed. They will stay trapped in the chaos of the first chapter, wondering why they can never get ahead. But the fact that you have listened this far means you have already begun to wake up. The question is no longer, what is the game? The question is, how much longer are you willing to play by someone else's rules?